Gentlemen, welcome back to the Danger Ranger podcast. I'm your host, Zach Allard, and as always, I hope y'all are doing well. I hope today is a great day. Today, we've got a special couple of topics to talk about, and this information that I'm about to pass on to you, if you're a ranger or soon to be a ranger or planning on being a ranger, it's gonna be important. If you're already a ranger, you probably already know this information, and this is something that's going to keep you safe, something that's going to keep your privates, and by privates I mean your physical privates, from getting diseased. But maybe not. Maybe this will be your thing. Maybe you're into these types of chicks. So today we're talking about the infamous cryptid, the rangerette. So, what is a rangerette? The first time that I ever heard the term rangerette was after we got our battalion assignments at the end of RASP. And I was talking with my buddy. I don't remember his name, unfortunately. He was in my basic class as well. He was kind of a homie. Good guy from what I remember. And he didn't end up going to first bat with me. I think he went to third, or maybe he was second. I don't remember. Initially, I wanted to get assigned to 2nd Ranger Battalion because it's on the West Coast. Like, my family's on the West Coast. It would have been a little bit closer geographically. And, I like the mountains. I didn't really know a whole lot about the South. I knew that I liked the West Coast a little bit. So, I was hoping for 2nd bat. So we get our assignments. I get assigned to 1st bat. And I was a little poopy about it, not going to lie, at the time. I was. And to preface this as well, this was the beginning of 2016. I had just been through my first breakup. I got broken up with when I went on block leave with my first girlfriend. And I was, a little distraught over that. I may have talked about it in the past. But so we're sitting across, there's this little PX, this tiny little snack bar across the street from the RAS barracks. I don't know if it's still there today, but there used to be one there. And you could get Pedialites, freaking all kinds of little snacks. You couldn't bring it back to the barracks, of course. So you'd finish your day at RASP once you got to phase 2, and you go across the street, grab a snack after dinner kind of thing. But so I'm across the street after we get our assignments with this homie, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm going to first bat. I'm kind of disappointed. I really wanted to go second. He's like, dude, first bat's the shit, dude. I was like, why is that? And he's like, dude, there's literally whole sororities down there where they have to fuck a ranger to get into the sorority. And I'm like, okay, having, again, just come out of a relationship. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, dude, there's one that has the ranger scroll inside their sorority house, above the doors. And I was like, oh, wow. He's like, yeah, dude, they collect ranger panties, which ranger panties, if you don't know, I'll pop up an image. They're just silky shorts. It used to be the PT uniform for the 75th Ranger Regiment until they went into a little bit of a longer, less exposing version of shorts. But we still wear them. I wear them personally as underwear, or occasionally out on a run or to the beach. Maybe super rare that I wear them out in public though. But they are right on that borderline length of acceptability. But he's like, yeah, dude, they collect ranger panties. They like rangers down there. And I'm like, okay, maybe this doesn't sound too bad. And he's like, yeah, they're called Rangerettes. I'm like, damn, we have our own fan club, huh? I was like, okay, maybe first bat isn't too bad. He's like, yeah, dude, you guys are on the beach too. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And I thought Hunter Army Airfield was literally on the beach, some kind of naval post. So I was like, oh, dude, we're gonna do a bunch of squad runs on the beach and stuff. That'll be really cool. Anyways, I get there, show up, and I didn't ever have any run-ins with any rangerettes until after I got my ranger tab. First of all, I created a rangerette. So the definition, the broadly accepted term and definition of a rangerette, is a chick who has slept with at least 3 different rangers. Rangerette. Again, that's the standard that I heard. Maybe it's less, maybe it just takes 2 to make a rangerette, but I digress. And this isn't, don't come at me at the comments saying I'm slut shaming. I'm not. I'm just pointing out that's what we're calling them. I don't particularly give a fuck. if you want to sleep with a bunch of Rangers, fucking go for it. Like the dudes will enjoy it. So we're just talking about the phenomenon that is Rangerettes, and then how to spot them. Either if you want to stay away from them, or if you want to find a Rangerette. So we're gonna hit both sides of the coin today. So I created a Rangerette. It was my second girlfriend. I rushed into a relationship right after I showed up, and wasn't the smartest move. Nasty rebound. She wasn't a bad girl. It just was not gonna work out long term whatsoever. And I graduate Ranger school. I come back. We had broken up after Ranger school, and like I was going to get my extra set of Jeep keys from her. We'd been broken up for a while. I hadn't seen her for like a few months, whatever. And I go in, we're sitting there, making small talk, super awkward, and she mentions like, "Oh yeah, I've slept with a few Rangers since." And I'm like, "Oh shit, dude, I created a Rangerette. Fuck. Achievement unlocked." Anyways. That's besides the point. So, and then later on, when I was single, like I did have a few encounters with some. Didn't ever hook up with any, but I did encounter them out and about. And and then I have a lot of stories too from my buddies as well, and just being in that environment. So, here are the easy ways to tell if she is a Rangerette. And we're gonna get no particular order here. So the biggest one and the funniest one, I think, is if she asks, and you're downtown. We'll set the stage. Like you're downtown Savannah. You're at maybe Roguewater Tap House, or you're at freaking McDonough's or Barrel House. Kind of ranger dense places. And if you're chilling there with your boys, and you see some girls, and you start talking to them, and like the topic comes up to what you do for work or whatever. And then you'd mention, "Oh, I'm a Ranger," which you shouldn't do. First of all, you should fucking make up a story. Don't ever admit that you're a Ranger to a girl on the first night of talking to her, because she might be super into it, or she might just completely not. She might have had bad experiences in the past. But anyways, I digress. So if somehow the topic of work comes up, and you mention that you're a Ranger, and then she asks you, "Does your call sign end in a number or a letter?" Turn and run if you don't want that. If you don't want that smoke, if you don't want whatever she's packing, you don't want none of that. If she's asking about call signs, that means she's had her fair share of call signs. So again, if you're into that, cool. Like there you go. There's the way to spot it. Hopefully your call sign ends in a number, not a letter. And if it ends in a letter, I mean she's had some numbers in her life, some number call signs. But that's one of the ways to tell if she's a Rangerette. If she asks about your call sign. Second way to tell if she's a Rangerette. You haven't gotten maybe any indications all night that she's a Rangerette. Maybe she's playing dumb. "Oh, what's a Ranger? Hee hee hee." But when you're bringing her back to the barracks, she asks, "What barracks are you in?" And I know in 2nd Battalion, I think there's like 2 different barrack shapes. I think there's like a U shape and then like a T shape, maybe. I don't know. Maybe second bad guys chime in. But if she's like, "Oh, which barracks building are you in? You're in the U or the T shape, or which company side are you on?" For first bat, it's like these 2 U's facing each other, and then you have like the companies each occupy like an L of each U, if that makes sense. And if she's asking what specific building your room is in, she already knows about the Ranger barracks. She's a Rangerette. A little too late at that point, my guy. You're just gonna have to ride that one in, dude. Can't slip away. You're already in the Uber with her. All right, another way to tell, and this one's a little harder to do unless you are on the CQ desk. So CQ is charge of quarters. You're basically sitting at a desk making sure that no one unauthorized comes into the barracks during the day and the night. So working it on the weekends, there's more downtime. People would bring in their girls over, whatever. It's fine. It's chill. Like when I was on it and there was dudes bringing girls past midnight, like I didn't care. Like I didn't take their IDs. Like you're supposed to like take their IDs and go kick them out of their room past 2 a.m. on weekends. But there was one time that I was sitting on the desk, and this was during the day on a Saturday. And the same girl came in with 2 different guys within like a couple hours apart. And I was like, she's a Rangerette. I wanted to say that she might have been a part of the military, part of the Army herself. I wanted to say that she had a cat card and that she turned her cat card into the desk, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I want to say it was just a driver's license, but rangerette if she's making multiple trips to the barracks every single day. Sign number 3. This one is a little bit more situational, and you have to be a little bit more discerning to pick it out. So if you're at a ranger bar, like a known ranger bar, like, you know, we used to, like, I guess, own bars. Like, it was only like, you know, Rangers go here. That's not really the case anymore, at least in Savannah. But there's still a few places that are very heavily dominated by Rangers, such as Barrel House, Rogue Water Tap House. McDonough's not so much. Rail's another one. Very Ranger heavy, very heavy Ranger presence when we're around. And if you're at the Ranger bar and you look like a fucking Ranger, you have a flannel on, you have black chucks on, you have a KIA wristband and a freaking Garmin watch, and you're wearing a freaking ratty hat and a black t-shirt and black jeans or blue jeans, they're going to know. The Rangerettes are going to know. They see that and they're like, oh, it's another one. They start freaking circling. So if you're at one of these Ranger bars and you're getting maybe a little too drunk, right? You're getting maybe just a little too tipsy, and it's getting towards the end of the night, you know, 2 a.m., 2:30, almost closing time. And if you get approached by a girl while you look like a Ranger, and she immediately starts hitting on you, and she immediately says, let's go home. Chances are she's already knows the address to the fucking barracks, and she's about to get an Uber back to the barracks, and she's about to take you there. Or maybe she'll take you back to her place, but be on the lookout for those. Those are a little bit more rare, a little bit more uncommon. But I have heard stories of my buddies who have been swooped up by Rangerettes in the past because they look like Rangers. We're not very hard to pick out of a crowd, especially in Savannah. Another one is if she knows the fucking battalion's deployment rotation. If she knows when you guys are about to go on deployment, and she knows when you guys are coming back, and she says, oh, you guys are going to this training event next month, means she's a Rangerette. She knows too much. Someone's fucking running their mouth to this chick. And then the last that I can remember, that I can think of, is if she asks who your team leader or squad leader is, or your platoon sergeant. If she asks about any of your leadership, chances are she's a fucking Rangerette. Or if she asks about your company, anything specific, she's like, oh, you're a Ranger, what company you in? Rangerette. Immediately. You know. So, that's my little mini masterclass on how to spot a Rangerette. Again, you know, we're not going to judge. Like, I don't really care. Like, Rangerettes are cool. Like, I don't have a problem with them. This is informational only. We're not here to attack anyone. So, just, you know, helping the boys out, helping the boys that get to the Ranger battalions out, just spotting these chicks for good. You know, if you're into that, good, you know how to find them. If you're not into it, good, you know how to avoid them. So we're making both sides happy. Last thing we'll talk about in the podcast today, because that went a little long, is my favorite parts of being in 1st Ranger Battalion. So again, some of these are going to be specific to 1st Ranger Battalion, of course, and then some are going to be more of a broad application, broad aspects of being in Ranger Regiment. So first, my favorite thing, outside of, like, obviously the job, like, the job is fucking sick. This is like maybe a little bit more of the intangibles, or like the stuff that comes with the job, is the Ranger songs. So if you've seen Dog, the movie called Dog with Channing Tatum, it's about a Ranger dog. Go watch it. It's actually they had actual Rangers advising on the set, and they filmed, I want to say, at 2nd Ranger Battalion. It was at 2nd Ranger Battalion. I think maybe at 3rd, but for sure I want to say 2nd. And they had actual Ranger dog handlers advising on the film. And there's a scene in there where they're celebrating. I guess not celebrating is the wrong word for a funeral, but they're honoring a guy that like, the main storyline is this Ranger dies in a jump, and his dog is, like, left without his handler, and she's about to get retired and killed. And so Channing Tatum had been out of the Army, whatever his character, and so they're honoring this Ranger who died in the jump's funeral, after the funeral. They're drinking at a bar and they're singing what are called Ranger songs. And I'm not going to sing them here, and I'm not going to tell you to Google them, but there are these rowdy songs that are pretty neat. And if you want to see an example of them, go watch Dog. And that's all I'll say about that, because it's kind of a if you know, you know kind of thing. But those, like singing those on the bus, like coming back from a range at the top of your lungs, whether as a private or not, you know, getting the shit smoked out of you singing Ranger songs, or like on the way to my next favorite thing about 1st Ranger Battalion is the St. Patrick's Day Parade. So again, first time, or when I showed up to 1st Ranger Battalion, it was February of 2016. And the next month, after we did our MLAT, the next month was St. Patrick's Day. And my buddies were all telling me, they're like, hey, like, we march in the parade. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, that doesn't sound very fun. They're like, no, dude, we march in the parade and then you get drunk in the parade. And I was like, oh, okay. That sounds like a good time. And of course, so you march in formation. It's the actual St. Patrick's Day Parade through the streets of Savannah. Sometimes it's on the actual day itself. Sometimes it's not. But we get in formation. You form up at Forsyth Park, and then you march through the streets. And like your team leaders and tabs and squad leaders and all the ranking guys take the outsides of the formation in the front and the back. Because what happens is when you stop, because it's, you know, it's not a non-stop parade. Like there's people that'll stop and, you know, you kind of sit around, and then chicks will run out and like kiss you on the cheeks and throw beads around you with lipstick. Like it's part of the tradition there. And so obviously like all the senior guys take the outsides of the formation, because it's rare that you get a chick running through the inside of the formation to kiss guys. And then people are like trucking either former Rangers or Rangers who are some reason not marching. And just people there are chucking beers and throwing jello shots at you, and it's a good time. So had a lot of good memories of that. I'm going to put some clips in here. I'll throw a picture of myself in the last parade that I marched in. But those things are fun. I'm trying to remember how many I did. I think I just did 2. Did the 26. I did 3. 2016, 2017, and then the 2019 parade. 2019 parade was the most fun. Good times. Me and Joe were marching in formation together, and freaking blast. Absolute blast. Leading into, or coming away from that, the second St. Patrick's Day parade that I did, it was also the weekend of Ranger Ball. And Ranger Ball is like any other military ball. You've got your freaking grog in the middle. You've got freaking everyone's dressed up nice. You know, you're wearing your freaking Class A's, or like your dress uniform with bow tie. You don't got to wear your beret, and you're wearing like the low cut quarter length boot or shoe, like the really glossy one that you get issued in basic training, so you don't have to wear your jump boots. And Ranger Ball is a freaking blast. I did 2 Ranger Balls, and then we did like a company ball right before I got out. But those are killer. Like we usually do them right next to a hotel. You get a freaking hotel rate, and you get hammered at the ball. Freaking say the Ranger Creed. Everyone's having a blast. You're hanging out with your squad, and then you either go downtown or you change and go downtown if you don't want to wear your uniform. And it's a freaking blast. So I'll throw some pictures up for my Ranger Ball, blacking out anyone that hasn't been on the podcast face. So you'll see that. And then another cool thing we got to do at First Bat was freaking halo casting and water jumps. So because we were right there on the coast of Georgia, and we were on obviously an airfield, like we got to do water jumps and halo casting probably at least once or twice a year, which was awesome. I only ever did 1 halo cast and 1 water jump, but we usually make like family days out of it. So we'd time in the water is, this time, and we'd time it for like a Friday, so you don't have to come into work the next day. And there'd be like the guys that weren't jumping, they'd bring out your freaking a change of clothes and stuff, and then they'd have food. You'd have some drinks on the beach after you either jump in or helicast. And there's a bunch of civilians, bunch of normal people out there watching you jump out of helicopters right into the ocean, and then swim out of it. Or in the case of the actual water jumps, you get picked up. The Coast Guard helps out, and they pick you up. And water jumps are the best because you don't got to do shit with your chute. Like they pull it out of the water for you. Like you just have to get out of it, and then they stow and pack it for you. And you get picked up right away. Like you don't have to land and then walk freaking 2 miles to the chute turn in. Like the boats are coming to get you, which is awesome. And obviously you get a freaking awesome just chill landing. Like you land in the water and you're freaking chilling. You don't even have to freaking land right. And then lastly, my favorite ranges were always the machine gun ranges and the demo ranges, because shooting machine guns is fun and blowing shit up is always fun. You shoot an insane amount, especially like during the actual training cycle, and you have like a planned machine gun range for the weapon squad. We would get like 20,000 fucking rounds of 7.62 linked to shoot, like in a day, like one day. Like we'd get all the day shooting done, make sure the guns are zeroed, do a bunch of that, and then get through maybe a little over the 10,000 rounds, and then night we're shooting the rest of it. We're doing practice support by fires, we're practicing talking the guns. And the shittiest thing though about machine gun ranges is you got to pick up all of that brass and all of that link, and you got to separate it, which sucked. And it's, God forbid if it was raining, or if there were some specific ranges that are on Fort Stewart. I don't remember which ones they were, but there's some ranges that are just straight sand, and so like your fucking links and brass would get buried in the sand over time. One of the things we started doing was bringing out tarps and like laying them out underneath the guns, so that one, the sand wouldn't swallow all the brass and link, and then two, it would make clean up a lot easier. You could kind of like pick up the tarp and like scoot it in and sort through it there. And then demo ranges, I didn't ever get to go to Master Breacher, unfortunately. So whenever we had an actual demo range, like I wanted to be there and, just building charges and learning about explosives. Like who the fuck doesn't like that? What kind of dude doesn't like that? So, but that's it today. Just a ramble on about some of the fun stuff about Ranger Regiment. We'll see you all sometime. I think I'll probably do another video. Don't know what I'll do it on this week. I have my war chest. So my war chest has got all my fucking cool shit that I brought back from overseas. Might do a video on that. Let me know. If you made it this far in the video and you want to see me do a fucking a war chest dump and show you what I fucking have, some stuff with memories attached to it, let me know down in the comments below. If you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe, like the video, comment, fucking whatever the hell you want. If you're a ranger and you made it this far, freaking comment your rangerette stories down below. And then a reminder for everyone, I am doing one-on-one coaching calls if that's something you want. It is paid. You can still ask me comments or questions in the comments and in my Instagram DMs. I'm happy to answer anything and everything, but this is an option for guys who want maybe a little bit more attention and one-on-one advice. So I am offering calls. If you want to book a call, check out the link in the description below. But other than that, if you just have questions, like, quick questions that I haven't covered in any of my videos, drop them down below or my Instagram DMs and I'll get to them. That's it for today. I'll catch you all later this week with another video, and I hope you all have a good one.